Time now for a look at the day's top business news, and for that I'm joined here in studio by Brian Quinn from our business desk. Brian, you're starting off with a look at the latest round of sanctions being imposed on Moscow.
Sharon, Tuesday's decision by the 27 nations of the EU to ban seaborne imports of Russian oil will hit Moscow's coffers. It's estimated that Russian oil production could fall 10% by the end of the year. But the plan, which sees the bloc phasing out some 90% of its supply of Russian crude, could also backfire. Its gradual implementation giving Russia time to find new customers while rising oil prices continue to fuel decades-high inflation in the West. Nick Rushworth explains.
It is yet another major effort to punish Russia for its war in Ukraine. The EU decision, however, to impose a phased ban on the overwhelming majority of Russian oil imports has its risks. European countries will have to fill the gap in the coming months. The French Union of Petroleum Industries says France, for one, can manage.
We can find the equivalent 15% of our needs somewhere else other than Russia. We're not worried at this point about our ability to do without Russian oil.
One analyst says European countries will need to monitor the impact of the embargo closely to see whether Russia is really being hit by the sanctions and just what the effect on the price of oil is in the EU.
Russia is selling its own oil at a $35 per barrel discount to India and China. And if this goes on, clearly this will be hitting its finances. But again, it's a fine balance that we have to find, because if oil in general skyrockets, so if Brent oil price goes very much up, it means that Russian oil as well will go up. And so sanctions will have almost no effect.
Another analyst, this time in Moscow, says the Russian government has already factored in the impact of an EU oil embargo.
Current forecasts of a recession of close 8% and the current plans of the fiscal revenues and expenditures already accounted for the effect of the embargo. And in this sense, we do not expect tangible revisions of this forecast.
These sanctions are meant to hit Vladimir Putin hard, but they will also affect the EU, where energy prices have soared and inflation is near double digits.
Well, that EU decision to ban Russian oil imports sent crude futures to 2-month highs on Tuesday, with European benchmark Brent crude topping $123 per barrel. Oil prices have since dropped back a bit following a Wall Street Journal report that the OPEC oil cartel is considering suspending Russia from its production agreements. That's a move that could see Gulf states start to boost their own production. Brent now trading around $115.5 per barrel, with U.S. benchmark WTI at around $114.70. Over on the stock markets, Asian indexes mixed on Wednesday. A weakening yen helping to boost exporters on Tokyo's Nikkei index. Chinese indexes, meanwhile, in the red as the latest survey of Chinese factory activity shows a continuing contraction in May, though at a slower rate than in April. Finally, for business, Wednesday marks the rollout of Germany's new low-cost public transport scheme. For just €9 per month, passengers will have unlimited access to metro, rail, and bus service across the country, with the exception of high-speed trains and some of the larger national lines. It's part of an effort by the country's new government to offset inflation and reduce carbon emissions. France 24's team in Berlin reports.
On the platforms of Berlin's central station, there's a happy busyness to all the coming and going. With the new monthly €9 ticket for public transport and regional trains, Germans have never traveled so cheaply, and they intend to take full advantage this summer.
It's such a good deal. I'll be able to travel for a whole month, while usually a simple day ticket in Berlin costs €9, and I'll be able to discover other cities in Germany too.
It is a great idea to lower the cost of mobility, all the while doing something for the environment.
7 million people have bought the €9 monthly ticket since it went on sale on the 23rd of May. The offer is good for the whole summer and will cost the government €2.5 billion.
People can buy the €9 ticket in June, July and August.
The measure is meant to help people who use public transport, usually hit harder by inflation.
The idea is to provide financial relief to these passengers and to encourage people to get out on public transport and go to the supermarket or go on an outing. It's not just about encouraging trips, it's also really just daily traffic.
It's not clear if the measure will be enough to convince avid drivers to leave the car at home, because the government is also helping with gasoline prices. So this expert says the measure is a bit of a smokescreen.
The €9 ticket is only good for 3 months. That's far too short. And while it lets you use regional trains, the main lines are excluded. So that's not enough to get car owners to give up driving.
But the ticket will still allow some 30 million Germans to save money while taking public transport.
€9 a month, not bad. They should give it a shot here in France. Why not?
Sounds like a great bargain, Brian. That's Brian Quinn from our business desk. Thanks so much for that update.